Morning. This is somewhere I've not been to for many months. It's Gibraltar Plantation, which is only a few miles from where I live. I quite fell in love with this place in 2021. During the late spring and summer, I found that it was possible to easily get off the beaten track. Not that this track's very well beaten. It gets a bit of traffic, mostly dog walkers and a few cyclists. It's when you go that way or that way off this little beaten track that Gibraltar Plantation becomes a lovely place to wander and pass the time. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it over there. It's another lovely late February morning. I'm hoping that some of the more sheltered parts of Gibraltar Plantation may well hold an early butterfly. Might not be quite that warm enough yet. It is a working forest, and last autumn and during the winter they did take out and remove quite a number of trees, but a lot of it was certainly small stuff probably about a 6-7 inch trunk width. Obviously these are a bit bigger than that, but where they've been taken out from I don't know. It's obviously further into the plantation itself, but we'll see if we can find anything as we trundle along. That's the way I'm going, behind you, so you best watch out. Now, this has never been an everyday come-to site. It's just been one of those sites to go somewhere different, just for an occasional visit. We've never sort of surveyed it to death, but it has turned up the odd interesting invertebrate. But you have to bear in mind that this is working forestry, and so the habitat is limited. But as I say, there is always something lurking here. It turned up brassica bug just in front, actually, of where we're stood now, just on the right hand side. You might be able to see the old seed heads of garlic mustard. Brassica bug is one of those species that has done tremendously well. It arrived in Nottinghamshire only a few years ago and has gone balmy ever since. You may well be wondering what I'm doing, or what I'm looking for. What I'm actually looking for is one of the county's rarest ladybirds. It's certainly an incredibly difficult ladybird to find, and I think all the recent records, of which there haven't been many, have been of Dillisism himself. It's a large ladybird, and it's the striped ladybird. When you get the opportunity to examine a pine tree that's recently fallen, it's often worth looking on the ends of these pine shoots. Sometimes you can strike it lucky, and tucked in the ends will be a striped ladybird. It's not a brilliantly red species, but it's beautifully marked and obvious where it gets its name from. Now, you may think that it might be tucked away in the lights of pine cones. Nothing will overwinter in pine cones. The reason is, if a ladybird or whatever went in there now, we got bad weather, it would close up and get crushed. Like like a little Hercule Poirot, aren't I? This is one of the reasons, probably the main reason, why I like this place. You can still hear the background noise of the road, which is only 150, 200 yards over to my left. But all else you can hear are little glimpses of birdsong and the sounds of the forest. But I think what also attracts me to this part of Gibraltar Plantation is the lighting through the trees. In fact, that this particular ride is indeed quite grassy. It's a lovely little spot. Peaceful, isn't it? You can probably see why I like coming here now. I've only seen one bloke and a dog. That was just as I got here. Otherwise, Gibraltar Plantation is like this. It's just a nice, peaceful place to come and have a wheezy wander. It's lovely. There we are. I've just given you a minute's peace. Aren't I good? Beautiful though, that, isn't it? There's something majestic and soothing about pines. I don't find them oppressing. I know pine woodland can be dark, but if you're a photographer or the like, it gives you opportunities like this. How many of you sat there and watched that sun glinting through the trees? Quite hypnotic, isn't it? Are you getting the gist yet? Why I like this place? Pine woodland might not be the best of habitats, but obviously it does offer those specialised species the perfect habitat. That's why Nottinghamshire's done so well for many pine-loving species in recent years. With the demise of much of the pine plantations, some of them might well be struggling to maintain a foothold here, but you never know. They may well hold on. But walking in pine woodland, I find an absolute joy. Some may say it's dark and depressing. I don't think so. It's lovely, just how the light comes through the trees. It's beautiful. I find that there's something protective about these regiments of upright pines. Just lovely, isn't it? You can never get enough of sunlight coming through trees. So here's some more. The sharp-eyed amongst you may well have noticed that the species of trees has started to change a little bit in this section. It's not all predominantly pine, but there again, Gibraltar Plantation isn't all pine. Quite a lot of sycamore. There's a row of sycamores here, but sycamore sort of scattered throughout Gibraltar Plantation. Down this side we have some beech. And at the bottom down there there's a nice little beech plantation. That's my next port of call. Many of you will know by now that I'm rather partial to a bit of beech. Not the likes of Skeg Vegas with fat people wearing next to nothing on it. This is beech trees and beech litter. I do love a beech trunk, me. I know what you're all thinking. You're all ringing tree line now, aren't you? It was like this before I leant on it. One good thing about woodlands is it makes things seem far away. It's the main road, only a couple of 100 yards away, might be half a mile at the very most. Yet sometimes, occasionally, certain vehicles will make it seem a bit closer. But woodland and the trees within it block out a lot of the sound. Woodland can also be used to block out things that you don't want to think about. They're very therapeutic sites, great places to wander, find somewhere quiet, sit down and ponder life's problems, make decisions. Woodland and the trees within it will help you with them decisions. Well, I think anyway. They allow your mind to wander. With all the troubles that are going on in the eastern part of Europe at the moment, as worrying as they are, can't do anything about it. It's out of your control. Worry can lead to some quite dramatic effects, especially on the mind. It's very important that people have something or somewhere to help them unwind. I think that's vital for everybody. And being out and about is my place to unwind. It's not a case of running away from life's problems. Woodland and the countryside helps you to sort those problems out. I found something. Oh, here's a pine cone, which the more acute of you might have already realised. But it's not just an ordinary pine cone. This is a pine cone with a difference. The difference being that something's been living in this, and that's how it got out. This is the exit hole made by the larva of one of the micromoths, and it's a tortrix called Sidea coniculana. There are two such exit holes on here somewhere. There's another one. Now, the actual moth we've never seen before, Dennis and myself. We never saw it. The only place we recorded it was here in 2006, and another site locally, which I can't exactly remember where and when. It may well have been Clipston Old Quarter. But you can look on the fallen pine cones, as I've been doing just now, and you're looking for these exit holes made by the larva, obviously prior to emergence by the moth. The larva develops within the young pine cones, and it's not until these old pine cones have fallen off the tree that you can find and look for these exit holes. Say, two Nottinghamshire records, as far as I'm aware, and I think this is the first record since 2006. Easy to find, easy to identify. As far as I'm aware, it's the only species where the larva lives in one of these little sort of petals, so to speak, of pine cone. Quite easy to spot, actually. It's about a millimetre, just probably a touch, just over a millimetre wide, the exit hole, and the moth flies late afternoon, early evening, if I remember right, around the tops and upper branches of pines. I did come looking for the moth actually last year. Didn't even find any of the old exit holes in the pine cones, but I've been successful today. So that's the larval exit hole of the micromoth Sidea coniculana. You can go out and find it today. It could be anywhere. Could be in parks, anywhere where there's pines. There you are, it's a little something. Well, I've enjoyed myself this last couple of hours. The time soon passes. Breezy again today, but not a cloud in the sky anywhere today. Beautiful for late February. Thankfully, we seem to be in a bit of a dry spell, but by all accounts from the weather forecast, it's not going to last. Some rain coming next week. Next week, of course, also brings with it March. It's always nice when you've got January and February out of the way, because you really have got the worst of the winter behind you. No more beasts from the east and all that nonsense. Still, more than likely going to get a period of colder weather. You have to expect it. There again, might not do. Seem to think there was a spring like this, or like that, a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, before we started getting these sort of cold Marches and Aprils. We had a very mild winter, and we were waiting constantly for that cold snap to materialise. It didn't. I wouldn't say no to a year like that again. You never know what the year's going to bring. Last year, after it was very dry and cool, it went hot and even drier. I remember all the heath and sites, it was just complete burnt grass. And that was by the end of April. Never seen it like it. Very reminiscent of 1976 for those of us that can remember such a year. Every year's different. No 2 years are ever the same. And no 2 years really ever suit a particular invertebrate. It's all swings and roundabouts. But usually each year there'll be a few species that will have bumper years. I've already mentioned one potential species actually when I was talking about brassica bug. Tortoise bug is another one that looks set as though it's going to continue to increase its range throughout the Nottinghamshire countryside. And of course there will always be something new that turns up. Southern green shieldbug is one to look out for, especially on your beans. Very attractive nymphs apparently. I'd like to see one of them. I'd like to see a lot of things really. It'll soon come round, and days like this, beautiful days. It's not too cold to sit here, but days like this make those longed for summer days come even sooner.